What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Movie Battleground. I'm your host, Matt, and I'm clearly not in my home right now. Clearly not. We got a special match coming up for you guys, though. It is a Real Rejects edition of Movie Battleground with Greg Alba and John Humphreys. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. I'm ready to fight.
I'm
ready to
Greg.
fight.
Greg
ready
Alba.
to fight. Ready to fight.
Greg Alba.
All right, guys. So, I don't know if you guys seen any of the matches, so I'm going to go by the rules, assuming you haven't.
It's just like movie fights, right?
It's basically like movie fights. You guys will have 5 minutes based on a argument.
5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes to fight.
Oh,
just throw each other around.
You repeat the question.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, we can repeat the question. All that good stuff.
I need more caffeine.
We can do that as well.
Am I throwing you off your hosting group? I'm sorry.
No, I mean this is about as well as I do anyway.
Okay.
So, no, but you'll have 5 minutes. You guys will argue. Before that 5 minutes, though, because I forgot to mention, you guys will have a opening, discussion where I'll give you guys a question. One of you guys will go first. You'll explain why you chose your answer. Then we'll go into 5 minutes, and then we have a closing where you guys just kind of summarize everything up.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
so yeah, are you guys ready?
No.
Yeah.
No? Okay.
But
I mean,
we're recording anyway.
Have you seen the questions?
There we go.
I have not. These are
I haven't
all
seen the
fresh.
questions either.
It's going to be...
So when I went on movie fights, they give you like a couple days to prepare like your answers. So
Yeah, Matt. What gives?
What gives, Matt?
We thought it'd be more
look
fun
like
to
an
do
idiot.
it blind-wise.
A blind fight? Okay,
blind
fine.
fight.
Fine. Let's do it.
Here we go. So the first question, and I'll shout out everybody who gave suggestions real quick, comes from Jeremy Adams.
I like
What's up,
him.
Jeremy?
Hey, Adams.
And the question is, what movie gives you the most nipple chills?
What movie gives me the most nipple chills?
Oh, shit. That's a question right there, huh?
Great question.
What is the movie that does give me the most nipple
What
chills?
kind of nipple chills? There's so many varieties.
It
Yeah.
could be any type. Good,
Okay.
bad,
Okay.
scared, but let's find out what's going on.
All right. Well,
Hmm.
when I think of nipple chills, this is my, this is my opening statement. Yeah. When I think of nipple chills, I try to think of movies that have undeniable moments that are just so cool in context of the plot, the characters, and more importantly, the moment. You could watch a lot of cool things, but does that guarantee a nipple chill? No. It takes all three moments of a serious case of badassery emotion to get the rise out of these two nips right here. So I'm going to go with my number one favorite movie of all time.
Damn you.
Because there are so many nipple chill moments in this film, and that is The Matrix.
Oh, damn.
All right.
Interesting.
Or John could take my other favorite movie of all time.
Well, see, now I'm debating on whether I should go with the more John answer or whether I should argue one of your favorite movies. And I feel like just as out of respect, I will argue a different movie
Okay.
than Drive, and I will go with Mad Max Fury Road. I think that's a very nipple chilly kind of movie, and
Yes.
especially in the way that it took a lot of us by surprise that first time we saw it, going in after so many years, not sure what to expect, and then just getting not only something that delivered on the promise of the trailer, the badassness of that, but also like so much more than that. It's a pretty chilly nip time for me.
I'd say so.
All right, there we go. So now you guys got 5 minutes. Just beat each other down.
Okay. John, you can go fuck yourself.
You know what?
I
hate you.
I
I've
wish
always
you
hated
didn't
you.
live here. I want you gone.
You know what?
And-
I'm just pretending about even liking your cats.
Oh, wow.
I'm just gonna say it.
Whoa, he won.
This has been
One. That's the lowest you can go.
Right there. Cold-blooded, man.
Yeah.
How are your nipples feeling now?
Not good. They're really pushed in at this moment.
Ooh.
All right. You see, The Matrix, I think, garners the biggest of nip chills because of the fact that, John was saying something along the lines of, surprised by, what you have seen. But I would argue that George Miller had built upon something we had already seen. And so yes, do both? Let's get this out of the way. Do both movies give nipple chills? Sure, but which one gets you the hardest nipples? Is what I'm going for here.
Yeah.
Now, Fury Road is one long action scene that is just on the road for like almost 2 hours, and you kind of get used to the visuals. I think that first cool chase is like, yeah, that's nipple chill worthy. But in terms of context of story, The Matrix delivers that from beginning to end. If you look at just the opening of that scene with Trinity, when she does that, and then when she jumps across the roof, that's just the introduction without story. That's just the visual landscape in the world. Bam. Nipple chills. You start learning.
Hey man, when Max first like crests over that hill and his just boot comes into frame, and you realize that those dudes are like coming after him, that was a pretty badass opening too, without context, without
Yeah, hey, I'll give that to you, John.
Pretty chilly nips.
They both have good opening nip chill moments, but. Like, the thing that The Matrix has is story moments that will get you beyond cool visuals and beyond cool... Because you could say that with every action scene in Fury Road or in The Matrix.
But Fury Road has a whole lot of context and story going on underneath it, too. Even if the variety of settings and the variety of set pieces is not necessarily super broad, you don't get, like, a bunch of reality bending, you don't go to a bunch of different locations, you do get a story that is incredibly personal as well as incredibly relevant to the world at whole. The struggle is completely tangible.
What you were describing is exactly the same words that could be applied for The Matrix, though.
This is why these are good choices.
Great choices. But you see,
God damn it, do I respect
I can think of lines of dialogue, though, in The Matrix that give you nipple chills. When he says, "I know Kung Fu." That's why is that a catchphrase? Why? Hey. That's a catchphrase because you're like, oh shit, this guy now knows Kung Fu.
Max doesn't even need words to give me
getting nipple chills now. I'm getting them now. Can you see that piercing through the shirt, Matt Beard?
I can see it.
There, boom. Do you see nip chills happening with this guy? I'm just reflecting on the movie, and I'm thinking, and by the end too, when Neo dies, it's heartbreaking. But then when he comes back from the dead, it's like, oh, fuck, he really is the one.
Yeah, but towards the end, when they realize that the green place is gone and all is lost, but then they return to the Citadel.
It's predictable, though.
Give them water. You know Neo's not going to die.
No, you don't know. You don't know Neo's not going to come. When you first watch that movie and Neo is shot to death, there is nothing foreshadowing that he will come back from the dead. But when it happens, it makes sense with the story of everything that's progressed. So when he comes back from the dead, it is a moment of, wow, look at these getting harder right now.
Look at there.
So when he comes back from the dead, it's a surprise. It's not a predictable ending of, oh, we knew that's going to happen. But it's a nice surprise because it makes sense with the story. You in that visual storytelling moment, you're like, he is the one. And then when he's finding the agent one-handed, there's been so much buildup of how no one could take down an agent. Prior to that moment, he couldn't take down an agent. So bam, major nip chill. The nipple chills get harder as the movie keeps going.
I would just argue the same thing for Fury Road, though, especially in the ingenuity of those set pieces and the amount of hate that you feel for those villains. Like when Immortan Joe gets his face ripped off, that's a nipple chill moment. That's also a cathartic, rewarding moment. Like, both these films are full of them, but I feel like Mad Max has an ingenuity. Like, Matrix broke ground in terms of technology, but in terms of sheer impressive force of scale and stunts and lives risked.
Stunts and scale. The Matrix is a whole world.
But they trained
their actors for real 6 months to
and they
fight.
destroyed real mountainsides and stuff.
You're watching the actors
real bikes.
You're watching actors do their there's
there are a lot of stunt people. Yeah, but that's all part of the movie that contributes to the nipple show.
I know.
That's all fair. There are also stunt doubles for Keanu Reeves in some of those scenes.
I'm giving you you are describing visuals and cool moments.
And the story has a context that is completely personal as well as global. It's a simple action of the story, but the context of the story is very involved.
But is
very deep, is very thought out.
So is The Matrix, but there's no lines or emotional scenes that combine
Sure there
both
are.
visual action, story, dialogue,
When
all
she
in one,
drops to
that
her
gives-
knees at the lowest point of the movie and screams out, that's a gorgeous image.
That's not a
that is-
nipple chill moment.
It's heartbreaking, so yeah, I get you, but at the same time, like, that's a very poignant moment with a very beautiful
You
visual.
gotta define what you mean,
There are
what
those-
you think a nipple chill moment is first before we can...
Anything that's like super gripping to the point that I'm a little bit out of my body is a nipple chill moment.
Right, and that's gonna be 5 minutes anyway. As you're
Alright.
Yeah. So you guys will do your closing, but like I said, nipple chill moment, or anything nipple chills in general, it could be out of joy, happiness, sad, anger, all those emotions.
No one was
Anything.
saying nipple chill. I should be defining nipple chills for everyone.
Hey, that's what it belongs to the people now. It's on a t-shirt, it belongs to the people.
We're gonna start with Greg though with our closings.
Closing?
Yes, closings. To sum everything up, we'll go to John, and then I will give my ruling.
I really feel like that in this argument, I gave more examples of like a lot of what we're saying of what I like of the basic technical stuff can be applied to Fury Road, vice versa. What he says for Fury Road can be applied for Matrix. I feel like I gave more examples of very big specifics on moments in story that really hit beyond just cool visual moments, as both these movies offer that. It's the consistency throughout of the story that is also complemented by the visuals in that moment with new groundbreaking elements and surprises, like from the beginning intro to the introduction to all the cool stuff in the second act for when he learns Kung Fu, to when he stands up to Agent Smith for the first time, and then when he eventually comes back from the dead. And I really feel like I just provided a few more examples. I don't feel like I provided like so much more, but I feel like I provided a few more, if I'm being honest. Plus, John said he doesn't really love my cats, so I think that's just a strike against him.
All right.
I mean, yeah, I did say I want to fuck his mom. That was off camera.
Hey, what you say echoes in eternity. All right. In closing, I also thought that there was going to be some kind of like moderation. I didn't know we were supposed to just duke it,
Yeah,
but
just duke it.
So we had 5 minutes.
I
so
think
it's
both of those films are great candidates first and foremost for the nipple chills. And yes, you did name a lot of specific scenes, which I can do right now in these closing statements. From the opening moments to when you see Immortan Joe's lair of women being milked. There are a lot of like nasty images like that. There are the cars flipping. There are the fucking yeah.
Speaking of nipple chill.
There are cars flipping and things like that. You've got the moment where they find the mothers and all that, and there are a lot of surprises that are all very integral to the story. And yeah, even though there's not much dialogue, I would argue that this movie gets it done without so much in-your-face explanation of mythology and things like that, you know? And I don't know, I feel like Mad Max Fury Road has a perfect blend of context, setting, tangible filmmaking, beautiful imagery, poignant themes, and emotional resonance. And all those things come together to make my nipples hard as ice. So,
All right, so
this is my practice for movie friends.
this is fine.
yeah, that was
It's fine.
that was good.
I'm giving
so-
you what you need.
Yeah, it goes a little more chaotic with other people, so
Oh,
you're
good.
good.
No.
This is good to know.
So
John
getting
and I
the
know each other's
personal.
game, though. That's
Well, you've done movie fights twice, and I've not done it at all, so I'm also
No,
like,
but I feel like though
Lock
that
in.
the idea of going against you in movie fights is actually incredibly nerve-wracking to me. So
Like-
this is-
because you are more aggressive than I am, too.
All right, so I had to take the personal attacks and put them to a side, just
It's not
to
fair.
help
That's not
out.
fair. I don't know. I felt like we had great personal attacks.
Those were the chilliest moments.
Okay, so I'm gonna take in consideration you wanting to fuck his mom and then him not liking your cats. So
Sorry, guys.
but
Can I
he's
smoke
not.
this
But
e-cigarette while we film?
huh?
Can I smoke this?
Oh
while we
yeah,
film?
yeah. Go ahead.
A real fight.
Yeah. So, speaking of the fight, this was actually really close all around. I feel like you guys kind of, I guess, you would give an attack to him and he would block it aside, give another attack and he would defend that. So it was very like even. So it came down just to like one little phrase, and I feel like just because I don't think it was defended quite as much as everything else, I feel like Greg giving the point of the originality in there just barely puts it over the top.
It's Allegory of the Cave.
Your time is done, John.
Philosophy.
Don't hate.
So
I read the story the movie is based on. Come on. Sorry.
So we're gonna give 3 points to Greg. No.
Just too into the game.
No, you're good. So yeah, we'll give that point to Greg.
That's fair.
It's obviously not over yet.
All right.
I would have given you the point. So
I honestly would have given John the point. I like how we all just... None of us agree with the
and
point.
we both give a point to Matt here.
Yeah,
Matt, you're catching up. You get 2 more points and you'll be tied with Greg.
There we go. So this is the question that comes from another admin.
Okay.
Brooklyn Vale.
Cool. Hi, Brooklyn.
I feel like you look like this actor, Greg. What's the worst Seth Rogen movie? A
Observe
little
and
Seth
Report.
Rogen-y feel.
Observe and report.
Ooh. Oh, that
Observe and report. Okay.
That was quick, John.
I don't know why.
Man, if this was best Seth Rogen, I could have easily answered that. The worst... What is the worst Seth Rogen movie? Fuck, Observe and Report is a really good choice. I mean, there are worse, right?
Maybe. That's what we're here to find out.
I would say... Fuck. What's a Seth Rogen movie I don't like? What happens in situations like this?
Do we take 5?
Do we
Yeah,
look
well-
at our... That's not fair if I look at an IMDb, though.
Right.
Okay, all right, no, I just gotta play the game fair. I mean, damn, that's a great pick. It's like a speed round. I feel like the popular opinion would be Green Hornet, but God, it just has to be something he's been in.
Yes. Yes.
What's he been in that's bad? He makes pretty good choices.
Sausage Party?
He makes like good choices. I guess I would go with oh God, I'm so sorry guys for the delay here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he was never really on a losing streak, was that? Yeah. I guess I'll just go with Green Hornet.
Alrighty. So we have Green Hornet going up against Observe and Report, and we're going to start with John. So John, why is it the worst movie that Seth has done?
Observe and Report, we were all kind of excited when that movie was coming out. It had a decent ensemble, and the main flavor it left in my mouth, not only aside from being kind of unfunny, was that it also crossed the line into being creepy and kind of dark and disturbing, and it altogether just left me feeling icky after the experience. And I've seen a lot of lackluster comedies. I've seen some comedies that I really don't like, but rarely do I leave going, ooh, and that's the main impression that movie left on me. And no amount of cameos by other comedians could really save that. And the whole romantic relationship gets pretty creepy and pretty unsettling after a while. And it's just one of those comedies that dips into, it wants to be absurd, but at the end of the day it just becomes sad and creepy. And that's kind of the main flavor that movie left in my mouth. It didn't really have any good banter. It didn't really have any good slapstick or sight gags or much of anything, really. There may be, isn't Michael Pena in that? He's funny, but otherwise,
Right. All right.
Green Hornet was, in the movie news world, and just on a global scale, I actually think, beyond movie news world, was considered easily his most disappointing film. I think Observe and Report was just another movie that he'd made that's kind of forgotten about. I honestly,
not for me.
Yeah, not for you. I'll give you that. But no one really went and watched Observe and Report, and it was just some original piece of material where Seth Rogen, he was kind of on a hot streak for a while, and then he had his partner Evan Goldberg, who worked with him on the script for Green Hornet. What's the guy who directed Eternal Sunshine?
Michel Gondry.
Yeah, Michel Gondry?
He's French.
Oh, that's why he has a woman's name.
Michel, and there's no A. That's why.
Michel Gondry directed it. There was a lot of hype to this, and it's a beloved comic book character, beloved TV show it's based on. Superheroes were starting to get a big introduction, or reintroduction to mainstream cinema. And then this movie comes out, and it's just awful. It is just flat out awful. It's super disappointing. In this argument, it is. It is super disappointing. The title character Green Hornet is the last thing from being a hero. They call it the Green Hornet, but he's not a hero at all. He's someone he's selfish. He is condescending. He never even tries to save someone in the movie. He's just constantly looking out for his own skin. He doesn't even have an arc that arcs into being a hero for the good where you'd want to see him in more movies. It's like, Kato's cool in the movie, sure, but it's not enough to make up for. You call the movie The Green Hornet, and the Green Hornet, he is annoying. It's the first Seth Rogen movie where we're like, man, he gets on my nerves in this film.
Oh, yeah, he gets on my nerves in Observe and Report.
I will give that. You do the Green Hornet though, and the Green Hornet is a famous character already, and all he does is play Seth Rogen in it. Where I think in Observe and Report, he actually tries playing a character.
Rogen. Kind of.
It's a really dark version of Seth Rogen, I think. It's like a dark, twisted, creepy version
with
of
like
Seth
an
Rogen.
undiagnosed mental illness of some kind. Like,
yeah,
the thing
but
about,
I think it's a character, though.
But, fair, but what I will say is, like, Green Hornet still has at least some modicum of inventive action. Like, the one thing Michel Gondry seemed like he was able to bring to that did make it a bit distinct was that the action was kind of unique, and it had some stylistic flair to it, which Observe and Report has almost none of. You know?
Well, you see what I'd say to that, though. We were talking about action. Like, yeah, I'll say the action scenes are one of the highlights of the Green Hornet. However, the Green Hornet, he sucks in the movie at doing action. You can't believe Seth Rogen. One of the few things I remember about Observe and Report, he has some, like, random fight scene that's really aggressive and violent in Observe and Report. And I believe that fight way more than I did believing him fighting at all in the hero vigilante movie that is the Green Hornet.
All right, I'll give you that point. I mean, I believe that fight in Observe and Report, and the problem is it made the movie that much more kind of weird and unsettling to me.
But I think Observe and Report, what's upsetting about it, the last thing you can say about Observe
Your protagonist is a guy you can't get behind by the end of the movie. Like, it wants you to...
That's the same thing with the Green Hornet, though.
In a different way, though, because, like, in the Green Hornet, you're just like, oh, he's a Seth Rogen type who isn't a hero. But in Observe and Report, you're like, there's something kind of wrong with this guy, and I feel like he needs attention, and I'm not having fun anymore watching this. Well, it's not absurd anymore.
Other than some cool action scenes in Green Hornet, it's very generic. Observe and Report is a very specific type of audience, but it is not generic. It is at least trying to do different things.
It does stand out from Paul Blart Mall.
It is at least trying to do different things. I think there's like a weird, kind of like that basketball movie that Will Ferrell did, Semi-Pro, that has this like weird audience for it. I think Observe and Report has that as well. I don't really know of Green Hornet having that, like, it's actually a hidden gem.
I don't think either movie has that, but I think that there's more goodwill generally to be salvaged for the Green Hornet, especially when you factor in the other elements around Seth Rogen, whereas, like, the movie around Seth Rogen doesn't really help either in terms of Observe and Report.
I think they're both bad, but at the end of the day, Green Hornet was the one that was immensely disappointing. Observe and Report, you don't walk out going...
It's a worse movie.
Observe and Report, you don't walk out...
There were less hype, but it's a worse movie.
I mean, that's all subjective at the end of the day, right?
Sure. Why not?
That's all things subjective.
None of these questions matter, man.
It's all subjective.
What are we doing here?
Why are we playing this game? It's a subjective game.
Why don't you just hate Green Hornet in peace and I'll hate Observe and Report in peace? Then we don't have to fight anymore. Go home, everybody. We're done.
See y'all later. No.
I think Observe and Report, you do get a funny Michael Pena. You get a sex scene with Anna Faris that has never left my mind. Because
is that for the better?
It's for the better when you're watching a bad movie that you at least get
a really creepy sex scene, though. And
she's in the car.
Yeah, isn't she, like, passed out?
No, she's on top.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, but she's, like, really drugged up. Like, it's still creepy. Yeah, like, it's
creepy because he catches her cheating on him.
Yeah, that too.
But hey, it's still hot when you take yourself out of it and go, they're just actors, people. Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, sure. I just remember being thoroughly creeped out during most of the sexual.
But I mean, that's
including like the random flasher bit too.
That's one of the things though that makes like Observe and Report is like dark, creepy, and weird. It's not what it was advertised as. But when you watch it, you can't, I wouldn't say
leave Green Hornet feeling gross.
No, but you leave it bored and immensely unsatisfied.
I would rather be unsatisfied than feel like I gotta take a shower.
It's super boring though, as opposed to that movie. You can't help but be fascinated by what you just watched. It's a movie that sticks with you because it's just so strange and so not what it was advertised as.
In a weird way, that's a good argument, but I still feel like even though that makes it more distinct, that still makes it a worse movie. Yeah, it might make it like things that are markedly bad are more memorable than other things.
Other than action, a couple of cool action moments that no one even really remembers.
And Kato, like everyone said, like Kato does the work and is ostensibly the cool element of the movie, much more so than Seth Rogen is.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
and with that, we're gonna go to our closing.
Oh God. Okay. I gotta make it more.
I think Greg's right.
I think John's right. Closing done. All up to you now, Matt.
All right, so I guess we're gonna go past the closing.
It's pretty obvious who won this round. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, we're gonna give it to John.
We're gonna give it to John. I actually like the Green Hornet, and I was like, please don't say things I like about the movie because I actually like that film. Green Hornet, if anything, is the film I would defend in an argument over I was just stealing what everyone else has said about the film.
Yeah, it was a good match.
Yeah, it was a good match.
You made me forget that I remembered you saying you kind of liked it. Yeah. So good job on that.
Yeah, I do like that movie. I thought it was actually got a lot more hate than it deserved. Yeah.
We'll see.
This will decide that ultimately.
So it is tied 1-1. It is a first 3, so we do have 30-second speed round questions, which we'll see how that is. So we'll move on to our third question real quick because we are running short on time. It is a question brought to us by another Jeremy Hastings.
Jeremy Hastings?
Yes.
What's up, buddy?
JTH.
That's a nice name.
But we're going to go to his question. It's a beautiful name. And on your birthday, he will make you gifts. And
that's exciting.
He did for me. So,
aw.
Yeah, it was nice.
Nice, Jeremy.
So he wants to know, and I want to know, and America wants to know, what is the best movie duo?
Best movie duo?
So as far as two characters.
2 characters or 2 actors?
You can define it either way.
Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Oh, fuck.
Tango.
There are so many I could think of right now.
Tango and Cash.
Tango and Cash.
Just bring that one right back.
Let's see here. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. God damn, John. Man.
Greg and John.
Easily, Greg and I think I'm gonna go completely different here. They are a duo that have worked together quite a few times, and I'm going to. Oh no! Okay, yeah, it's still very different. It's still very different because I was looking for a comedic one as well, but I'm gonna go with a romantic pairing that I've done it 3 times now, and oh shit! I'm already thinking of what John could say against me.
This is the moment of truth right now.
I would say, you know what? I'm still gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a shot. All right, I'm gonna test my argument skills here. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone.
That's a good call.
All right, there we go.
Good call.
So we'll start with you, Greg. As far as an opening, then we'll go to John.
Okay.
So
I think Simon Pegg and Nick Frost have been accused of sexual assault and don't deserve to be qualified in this match. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. They are that rare Hollywood duo. I feel like in the 40s and the 50s, you get a lot of those same reoccurring romantic pairings in films. And then way later, years later, you eventually got a Tom Hanks and a Meg Ryan, and then that stopped right there.
And then any other person they tried doing it with again, like on a repeat time, hasn't worked because it stops feeling fresh and feels rehashed. I think of how Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson were great in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and then they do that stupid surfing one after.
Fool's Gold?
Fool's Gold, which was just awful, and they had like zero chemistry all of a sudden, like no chemistry. I think that what Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone have done in terms of their careers meshing together is they've done 3 different films. And each film, they are paired up as a romantic pairing, and each relationship is different in there. It's not like you're watching the same Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling performance in this. So they're playing 3 different characters with 3 different dynamics. And one of them, to get it out of the way, is a film that I don't think is generally perceived as a good film, Gangster Squad. But one of the few things that people said that was still believable in it was the chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. That was still, like, one of the highlights of a otherwise perceived as not a good film was that. What Crazy Stupid Love, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone were supporting characters, but what was the highlight? Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone. And then they do a third film, La La Land, and you could put these guys in different time periods. You could put them in different environments, different characters, but you put those 2 together, you are guaranteed magic chemistry on screen.
That is a fair argument, and I'm going to say similar things right now.
Yeah, I just think I already know so much you can say with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, I mean, both of those guys is the complete package, but it's so much more magical when they both get together, and that's been proven first and foremost across 3 films.
Yeah.
With a couple other films beyond that, you know, that aren't necessarily on that level, but still, like, they pair up a good amount, and even back in their TV show, like, this is a chemistry that has gone on for a long time, and through that, they have demonstrated that each of them is capable of playing very different characters with very different dynamics, but in each of the projects they feature in, they're always very tied to each other. Even like World's End, which is an ensemble, it's still the relationship between Nick Frost and Simon Pegg is very important, and the way that they foil and support one another is very important. You got Shaun of the Dead, where they're both like different kinds of slackers, and then you morph into the complete opposite with Hot Fuzz, where, you know, Simon Pegg is super straight-laced and Nick Frost is kind of a goof, and then you move on to a different kind of opposite dynamic with World's End, where Simon Pegg is sort of a washed-up, you know, in rehab kind of guy, and then you've got the very straight-laced Nick Frost. You see all these different layers, and they both also have the ability to write and improvise and really bring the acting chops, which again, Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling both have as well. But just in the way that they're able to morph and really support and blend into various genres too, with zombie movie, with a cop action thriller, with an alien comedy, you know, like something like Paul, or, you know, again, an end of the world sci-fi scenario. Like, they are completely versatile, and they're completely believable, and they're always morphing. And so, you know, when you get those 2 dudes together, something special is probably going to happen. That's my opening statement.
There we go. All right. So, you guys got 5 minutes? Just.
You mean 15? Okay, let's do this. All right.
5.
Look, you know that I love Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
And you know that I love Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone.
They're just agreeing with each other.
So, like, I think my biggest argument I would make against Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and this is a place of truth I'm coming from here. What are the 2 movies that they did that weren't helmed by Edgar Wright?
Paul, and they both appear in Adventures of Tintin.
When I heard they were in Adventures of Tintin, I got excited. They were easily the most annoying characters in that film. Okay. And they didn't blend well. Paul was not that well received of a movie.
For sure.
See, the thing with Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, that I think when they work together, it's not the duo, it's the trio. When you have Edgar Wright with you. Like, when Edgar Wright is... It's this maniacal laugh.
That's the laugh of a good argument.
When you have Edgar Wright there, that's when those 2 shine. Sorry, now I'm so caught up in, was it a good argument?
I think it is.
Because when you have that director who's usually a co-writer with them, he's the one who could bring out the best in them. Like, I agree with everything you said about those 3 Edgar Wright films. Like that's true.
Paul
but
still has some of the best parts of Paul still originate from their chemistry and from their bond together, and that's part of what actually does manage to sell some of that movie at the very least.
I would see some of that movie, sure. But that's kind of like saying Gangster Squad's a good film.
But to you, I guess I would say that in terms of the Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone duo, I feel like there's only one movie where they are truly the duo, and that's La La Land. Whereas the other two movies, they're more supporting characters. They're not the focus. They're not the leads. You know, the point of those movies is not their chemistry, even if it's good.
But they still, regardless, even if they're not the main centerpiece, like just those 2 lead actors, they become the scene stealers. They become the highlights of those films. Crazy Stupid Love took everyone by surprise with their chemistry. That's a film where you, like, if you didn't love Ryan Gosling yet, or Emma Stone yet, you will fall in love with them there. And Gangster Squad, what was cool about that was they're in a totally different time period. He's a gangster or some shit. and she's like, I don't know, works. I don't really remember. She's just like some singer or whatever. Like, is she a hooker or something? And yeah.
Both!
Yeah. And then the thing that's cool about them is it doesn't matter what director they have. No matter what script they have, whoever's behind the camera, it doesn't matter. Because as long as you put those two with each other, they're going to ignite the screen no matter what they do.
I feel like...
also, really quick, in La La Land, I don't care what professional Broadway singers or whatever say about their singing, they also showed this different side of them, because you brought up genre switching up too, and Gangster Squad is an action period movie. Crazy Stupid Love is just a romantic movie. And then in La La Land, that's another genre spin. It's a romantic musical with some dance numbers that so many YouTube videos, people started like replicating what they were doing.
Here's what I will say in rebuttal.
Emma Stone also won an Oscar for La La Land.
Fair. Yeah. That's a fair point for one of your duos.
And Ryan Gosling was nominated for La La Land.
Yeah, I mean, they're great. They're great in that movie together, and I agree with pretty much everything you've said. And the only thing I would argue in response to that is, yeah, they can play in a lot of different movies, they can play in a lot of different scenarios, but that chemistry is the same kind of chemistry that originates from the same place. And I feel like Simon Pegg and Nick Frost have demonstrated a broader range of characters and character dynamics between the two of them across the movies they've done. So not only are you genre bending, but each time they do that, you have these guys in totally different roles, in totally different statuses, and in totally different places within their respective ensembles, which to me communicates that there's just a broader range of things that duo can do.
I feel like Nick Frost is usually just, other than World's End, I feel like Nick Frost is usually just a dumb guy. And Simon Pegg is smarter than Nick Frost.
He's a slacker in Shaun of the Dead, but I wouldn't necessarily say he's 100% dumb. Like, he's a lowlife in ways, but he has...
on it, yeah.
He's got a certain element of street smarts, whereas, like, Constable Butterman is a bit of a doof until the end, you know, and his action movie know-how comes into immediate relevance to the plot.
I mean, but I think in a general...
Ed is at least resourceful.
On a general perspective, the audience will tend to see that, Nick Frost is the overweight buffoon character, where Simon Pegg is a little bit of the cooler character in the film. That tends to be the average dynamic. World's End's the only one that doesn't have that dynamic. I also think the Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone films have reached a much bigger audience for a reason, because that ability to get audiences swept up in the romantic feeling of love. Yeah, we love love.
I think their characterizations are still the same. Like
you seen Crazy Stupid Love?
She's still Emma Stone, and he's still Ryan Gosling. Like even if they have a bit of a different energy, they're not like transforming or doing different, voices or body mannerisms or anything.
Well, neither is Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, though.
To a degree, I mean, there's a certain amount of physical transformation each time.
Well, Crazy Stupid Love was the role where Ryan Gosling intentionally buffed up for that movie, and then for physical, they had to spend months learning dance routines and learning how to dance and sing for La La Land.
Yeah.
But
that's not the character. That's not character.
That's a big part of their character, though, isn't it?
It's a part of the movie. The whole reason he buffed up for Crazy Stupid Love was because this guy is a machismo character, and this is the kind of girl who's really set in Crazy Stupid Love. She's a character who's really set in her ways, and she wants a traditional life, but then she breaks away from that, so she goes for a guy who is
so far off the traditional path. And then in Gangster Squad, they're kind of criminals. And then in La La Land, they kind of hate each other in the beginning. Like, the movie starts off where they hate who each other are, and the whole point of their story is that they're so different, and what they want are so different that they can't be together.
Yeah,
so
those are good stories, but I'm saying like them as a duo, I feel like the actual tone of their characters doesn't shift a whole lot. Whereas like with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, when they team up, it could be anything.
But it's also
could be any kind of character.
It's also the same kind of comedy though with them. Like you go in there wanting
but
the
Emma
same
Stone and Ryan Gosling are always having some kind of romance.
All right, I guess time's up. There we go.
What do you want?
What do you want, beer?
All right, we're over by like 2 minutes on this round.
Okay.
We ruined everything.
The camera there helps a lot. So we'll start with Greg for closing. Then we'll go to John for closing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then we'll see who has.
I'm bringing this back to my cool line that that I think Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, their strengths come not from being a duo, but from being a trio with Edgar Wright. I think that when you go see Simon Pegg, I think what a big part of why no one really cared for Paul was because it wasn't the Edgar Wright kind of comedy. So when you see Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, you're looking for a very specific kind of comedy. Like, yes, you can have a genre splice with an action movie or an alien invasion movie or zombie film. At the end of the day, you're there for the comedy, not the genre that they're splicing it with. So when you go there for the comedy, you want that same level that Edgar Wright will bring for the film. Where I think with Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, they have done 3 different genres under the helms of 3 different directors, 3 different sets of writers, and they provide different characters for each one and by having different characters, you get different dynamics and different reasons. Like, yes, each one of them, they fall in love with each other, but that's like saying every romance is the same when it's not. It's just a form of another kind of relationship. So in this form of their relationships, I think that Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone have taken the world by storm in terms of you fall in love with them. Like, each time they're you know how hard it is to have you go, wow, every time they come back together, their chemistry, and I fall in love with them even more when they come back. Crazy Stupid Love, introduction to that. Gangster Squad solidified, no matter what they do, they're good together. La La Land just fucking blew the whole world. Like, that was just mind-blowing of like, wow, there's no one better than them, and they are classic Hollywood stars in that way, and you don't get that anymore.
All right.
Period.
All right.
Yeah.
That time of the month.
A lot of good points there. All right,
I'm kind of fearful of your points. you go for it.
I mean, that is a fair point about Edgar Wright, but we are talking about duos, and even if Paul isn't a terrific movie, I feel like a lot of that rests on the script, which, yeah, like they had a hand in, and that's a fair point, but the duo of them, their chemistry together, their playing off each other, is still part of the heart of that movie. And I do still think that across the board, yeah, like Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, they have great chemistry. We love to watch their romances play out. And yeah, they're always going to be varying shades, but I feel like the amount of tools in the belt for Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are much more broad. They have demonstrated that across a lot wider genres with different, again, I feel like the character dynamics that they embody are more different than the ones that Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling have done over their 3 films together. And I feel like when you add all those skills together, like they work separately, but there's nothing like the magic of having Simon Pegg and Nick Frost together. And I feel like in a way, the detriment of what happens when they're not together is kind of a support for them being the duo. Like, it's the utmost magic when those guys do their comedy together and create... And the other thing, too, is they have often shocked us with not only how funny they are, but also how much dramatic weight they can imbue that comedy with. It makes the comedy even more film-like, even more weighty. And I feel like even though, yeah, like... it's still based in comedy, those comedies really, really draw in the elements of their genre. So even if you are getting a comedy, you are also very much getting a zombie movie, very much getting a cop thriller, very much getting a sci-fi end-of-the-world apocalypse scenario. Like, it's not just... you know, we threw in a couple bits of wallpaper from those movies. They're all in because these guys know those movies too. That's why they're a good comedy duo and a good buddy cop duo in Hot Fuzz. Or they're a good comedy duo and a good zombie fighting duo in Shaun of the Dead, etc. You know? That's my 2 cents on the matter.
That's good. That was good.
All right. Yeah, this is definitely the closest, I think.
It was a good match.
Yeah, because I feel like you guys pretty much balance each other out to the point to where you got to really think about just one thing you guys said. That being said, I think, and the only reason why I'm going to give it to him is because of what he said with the not originality per se, that's a different debate, but I'm going to give Greg the point by a hair because he did mention
The right factor.
that with the Edgar Wright factor. That, which, I mean, you
shouldn't
did
have said that was a good point.
that was a
Can't
factor.
concede.
Can't concede ever. Sportsmanship. What?
But I mean, yeah, that went to effect as far as that point, and then also I just feel like it wasn't defended as much as the other points were defended by both of you guys. It feels like the one that was just kind of, I guess,
Left there.
to, you know,
It's
it's like all the points are dead. That one's there just to be left to die. So with that, I will give the point to Greg. It is 2-1. He needs one more point to win. We're gonna have 30-second speed round questions. Because we're gonna have 30 seconds,
Nipple chills.
and then you're gonna have 15 seconds after to rebuttal all the points that were made.
Got it. Best Seth Rogen movie. Knocked
So-
up. Let's do it.
So this is pretty close to Seth Rogen movie. I was gonna use this as a regular question, but I felt like this would be a better speed round question. And this is from a guy named Kees Cornelisa. He is from the Netherlands.
Case, what's up, man?
Nice. Netherlands, huh?
So I feel like this would be a good.
World.
I feel like this would be a good speed round question, rather than a full, I guess, main round question. And that is Solo, a Star Wars story.
No.
Is it good or is it bad?
Bad.
Can I say that it's neither?
I mean,
It's like
as long as
it's
you
fine.
fine is
It's
close to
fine.
positive. Positive.
Oh,
It's gotta be
well,
around
if I
positive.
could go fine, I would have said fine.
Good or bad, I'll go good. I'll go good.
So
If,
good.
if we have to black and white this, I'll go good.
He's got good. He's got bad.
So it's easy to argue fine.
I feel like
you could go bad and good at the same argument.
I feel like that actually fits better with the arguments you guys had in the first round. You said he wanted to fuck his mom. He said he didn't like your cats. I feel like that's bad, and that's a little better. So
You know, a little disproportionate, but we get that.
yeah, it's close enough. So
Let's do it. Well, I think the fact that John wanted to answer that it's fine shows that the movie is just not that good
Fine is a
to
form of-
begin with. If you're gonna go with just fine, that means that it's a disappointing film. The film is a huge disappointment. It shows in the box office numbers. It shows that Star Wars fans didn't even care. Alden Ehrenreich is a boring one-note Han Solo. The characters in it are super bland and dull. No, whoever stands out only because they're a little bit better than the crappy film that it is. Donald Glover kind of is okay.
all right, that's 30 seconds.
All right, stop.
Stop. There we go. Here, I'm gonna let you do
Yeah.
your business.
Whenever you think you have a speed round, then you start
Right.
talking, you're like, man, I haven't said enough.
All right. So some good points. Now we'll go to John.
All right.
When you start talking, why is it good?
So I'll say that Solo is pretty good because it surprised us with a lot of things. I think Alden Ehrenreich is actually a lot more charismatic than any of us thought he was going to be in that role. He left an impression on me. I think the world expansion is beautiful. I think all the set designs and the different places you see are great. The Kessel Run even lives up to the, build up of all that mystery over the years. That's a great sequence. Woody Harrelson actually left an impression and is great in that role. He brings a lot of weight to the movie. Paul Bettany brings a lot of personality to his character as the villain, which is essential for a villain who's basically...
And that's time. We will go to you. 15 seconds when you begin talking.
Okay. The only impression Alden Ehrenreich leaves is the fact that he's not Han Solo. Harrison Ford's way better. Woody Harrelson's plot twist was so predictable, so he's not a memorable guy. Paul Bettany was a super generic villain. The Kessel Run has no stakes. The film has zero stakes because you know everything's going to be fine in the end, and
that's
it plays
time.
that way.
All right. I'll go to you.
I can't argue that this is an outright bad movie because it does everything pretty much fine. It is perfectly enjoyable, it's perfectly imaginative, and it does broaden out the Star Wars world a little bit. Even if it's not great, it's still pretty good, and that's maybe damning, but it still doesn't make it a bad movie.
All right,
15
that's
seconds?
15 seconds. We're on the dot. I feel like I'm going to give the point to John on this one
Yeah,
because
definitely.
of the
No,
world building set design, which I feel like you didn't hit at all.
No,
Like you hit everything else, but you left those behind while he
No,
did
I lost
hit on
No,
your.
the fact that he didn't argue that it's great either actually really helped.
So you kind of showed your cards there. So
Yeah.
it is tied up. Now the next one is gonna be from me and my brain. This is going to be a bargain bin type question. So you're going to Walmart, you're going to Target, you're going wherever, and you want to go to the bin of Blu-rays, not DVDs, because I'm assuming you guys have a Blu-ray player.
Got both,
And
man.
you gotta have quality.
Got everything.
So, which movie do you end up taking from the bargain bin? Catwoman or Fantastic Four 2015?
Fantastic Four.
Oh,
You got
I was like, wait, which one is it?
I should have said Fan Force. So we'll start with John. Whenever you've been speaking, why would you take Fan Four Stick over Catwoman?
So when I saw Fan Four Stick and heard how terrible it was, for the first entire half of that movie, I was convinced that maybe this could be alright and maybe it wouldn't be as terrible as everybody says it is. And yeah, even though it does devolve, the first half has a lot of good acting, has a lot of good set pieces, has a lot of good ideas, has a lot of cool designs, and it has like a body horror element that brings an interesting facet to a superhero movie that we've already seen done before. And even if it does go downhill, it's still watchable in a way that Catwoman isn't, and it doesn't devolve into just silly ridiculousness.
And that's time. Why is Catwoman better? And why would you watch that over Fan Four Stick when you begin speaking?
I'd rather watch a silly, ridiculous film that is so bad that it's entertaining and good because of that factor of how ridiculous it is. And Catwoman has that cheese element throughout that no matter what, you're not bored. Yes, the first half of Fantastic Four has some interesting elements, but none of them have a good payoff. And the last half of that movie is dull. It's boring. You want to turn the movie off. Whereas Catwoman, you kind of want to stick around because you just want to see how ridiculous and worse this gets, that it makes it an entertaining film. It's at least entertaining, whereas that Fantastic Four film is just flat out boring.
Time for the 15 seconds to John when you are ready.
Okay, so watch Catwoman 15 times. Let me know how the replay value holds out on that one. There are at least interesting ideas at play in Fantastic Four that might not get old the second you're already familiar with them, because I feel like the funniness aspect isn't going to save you for a longevity.
Why do you keep going to jail on me?
Use your fingers better.
I'm sorry. Now I know what time you need to get up. So, 15 seconds when you're ready.
Okay. The question's not about repeat viewing. The question is just about the film itself. And Fantastic Four is just boring and dull. And I'd much rather be entertained. At least you get to get sexy Halle Berry and watch her be sexy and do sexy things as sexy Catwoman. So at least you get some eye candy in the film.
And that's
something to keep you entertained.
It's time. Stop going to the camera.
I would argue
Phone
that
back.
headpiece is not sexy at all. All right, Matt
Here we
Beer,
go.
the fate of our friendship rests in your hands.
I feel no matter what, I'm going to get thrown out of here.
Definitely.
It's
So-
just one of us will be more aggressive about it.
Yeah.
One of us will walk you out.
One will walk, the other will, throw me out.
Now guess who does which?
Now, who will do what? I feel like just because of the rebuttals, 15-second rebuttals, I feel like John had more in there, and you were relying more on the sex appeal. I could tell.
I'm like, I don't remember Catwoman. I'm like, I remember Fantastic Four. I don't remember Catwoman.
Yeah, I feel like he defended all the attacks you had against, I guess, Fantastic Four and why it would be less watchable than Catwoman. I feel like he defended them more, he attacked more, and I feel like I said, you relied more on the sex appeal, which, I mean, listen, that's good for me. You get a point, you get a point in my heart. But as far as the league goes, in this game, I have to give the point to John, which means John has won the match.
Damn. Oh man.
Now get the fuck out of here, Matt.
Bye,
Now I got nipple shoes. Got those nipple shoes.
So,
I did not think that's how it was gonna go. So
it was a lot of fun. Definitely, for sure. We finally got it recorded, guys.
Now I don't want to go on movie fights.
He doesn't.
now I'm just getting started.
My confidence just shot down completely for this thing you have here.
Don't worry. Then you'll trounce me on the actual movie.
And I'm just like, no, I don't want to be here anymore now. Yeah.
But hey, at least you got the movie trivia showdown.
Yeah. Speed. What? I didn't win.
Yeah, but you usually have more answers for our team.
No one cares. John has a free for all.
Yeah. Sure. See my.
So, I want to thank you all for watching. Before we let you guys go, where can we find you guys at? Here you guys have a event.
We're in Sherman Oaks, California.
Sherman Oaks,
Now,
California.
drop a pin in the comment box. Come visit us.
And yeah, we have a live event July 7th, 6 p.m. at Arena Cine Lounge. Film therapy with Breanne Chandler from Miss Movies. Stacey Howard, her partner, will be there as well. The idea is to premiere a sketch. We haven't said that to anyone, but that's the idea. They're saying it here for the first time. Yeah, premiere a sketch, play some film clips on this because it's at a movie theater, and yeah, it's our very first live event. Open Q&A, all questions unlimited. We can answer whatever you want.
Yep.
And yeah, Real Rejects is our YouTube channel.
There we go. All right. Well,
Channel's dead.
channel. Apparently the channel's dead. Bro, I'm not kidding.
I'm not kidding. Oh, good, because for a second, it might be.
Oh, good.
Serious business, bro.
Serious business. Damn. So, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys want to subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, subscribe to this channel.
Click here to get
Subscribe
stuck bananas.
Yeah, click here to get stuck in eyes. 1 million subscribers.
If you like what you see here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.
Alright. So, Schmoville, thank you for watching. If you're new, subscribe like I just said. Like the video or else Greg will kill you. And I will cook your body parts. I will get,
Strange host.
Oh, you don't want to tell us about a hobby you got there?
Cook your body.
Yeah,
What do you do in your spare time, Matt?
I go on a deep web. So, like I said, like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment down below, let us know what you thought about the match. Did I do an average job of judging? Or did I do a bad job? We'll find out once this comes out. Also, check out some of the other content that we got on this channel, like Therapy Trivia, a league that Christian Harloff does not want them to compete in. Just, you know, it's all good. It's our movie trivia league. Kind of like the Schmodown. Basically the Schmodown. It's a little different, though. We have the wheel round, but it's you just choose a category, and you bet on black or red. Yeah, red or black.
So, like a
So we have that.
roulette.
And we also have Full Metal Trivia. It's a whiteboard style league where we have 5 or 6 of you guys. You'll compete, you'll fight, and as each round goes on, one of you guys get eliminated until we find out the one to rule them all.
So
That's
wait.
the tagline.
Does one of us have to perform that trivia in like a big empty suit of armor?
I mean, yeah.
Why
That's-
not
that's
why is
usually
it
what
full
we
metal
require.
trivia?
Yeah.
What
that's
makes it full
usually-
metal?
it's nuts.
Or is
People-
it like Full Metal Jacket? Am I drawing the wrong?
Yeah,
reference?
it's like Full Metal Jacket.
This is my marker. There are many others like it, but this one's mine.
I lost. I don't want to be here anymore.
So, thank you all for watching.
Just you and me, Matt. Really
There we go.
appreciate you.
The battery's dying
This game.
now. So, thank you all for watching.